Dear friends, today we are Tuesday, October 20th. We are in the middle of reading the Torah portion of Noach. We spoke yesterday about one of the lessons we can learn about the story of the flood. And really there are many, many lessons that we pick up from this week's Torah portion. That's what I want to share throughout the rest of the week as well. And one of the fascinating things is when we read about, here's a flood, the entire world is being engulfed with water, destroyed, and only the people in the ark were saved. How big was this ark? And who was inside? So we're told there were 8 humans, Noach and his wife, his 3 sons and their wives. None of them had children yet. But otherwise it was packed with all types of animals. Anything that would survive the flood had to be in the ark. So from the lions to the sheep to the crawling insects and animals, everything except fish or things that are in the water had to be in the ark, at least 2, a male and a female, to be propagated afterwards. Many species ceased to exist because they were not in the ark. How big was this ark? So this ark was 300 cubits. Cubits is a ancient Jewish measurement, which was about 18 inches. So the ark was 450 feet long. That is about a little bit larger than a football field. So 450 feet long and 75 feet wide, 3 floors, but it went up like in triangular shape, so the top floor wasn't that large. And in this ark were packed 8 people for a year living together. The food that they needed to prepare for them and the animals to eat. The garbage that they had to store until the flood was finished. All the animals. And yet, as difficult as it was, and if you think about it, how packed it was in there, we find that there was a certain level of peace and harmony that existed in the ark that's used as an example of how the world will look like when Mashiach will come. We occupy a massive world, but somehow throughout a big part of the history of the world, there wasn't enough space for everyone. Nations fighting against each other, people fighting against each other, trying to eliminate. Even at the beginning of time, Cain and Abel, the 2 first children in the world, were fighting over dominion over this world. And here, 8 people, all these animals, birds, insects had to be living together, and they did so in harmony. And it wasn't under regular condition. Besides being a tight space, it was under a flood. Outside, the world was falling apart. It was so difficult to keep yourself positive. They knew they were in the ark, they were being saved, but had no idea what the world would look like the day after. Empty. No memory of the past. None of the excitement, activity, and peoples that existed before. Imagine the anxiety that they had. When will this be over? What will the world look like afterwards? But yet, they had a harmony between each other. No one hurt each other. Even the animals who naturally devour each other had a certain harmony, and everyone came out alive. And this is a lesson for us as well. You know, sometimes it's hard to live together with other people. Not we're talking about sharing a small space, even sharing a home, a building, a city, a nation, a world. And especially, many people find it hard. And look in a pandemic when there's a lot of anxiety. You know, a lot of the things going on south of the border, the protest that engulfed America during the summer, violence, a lot of people on edge in many places of the world, and everyone is blaming it on lockdowns and people being in an anxious situation, not knowing what the future holds, not knowing if they'll make it or not make it, or how they will make it. Imagine what was going on during the time of the flood. But there was a very conscious decision that was made from top down by Noach and his children, that they will live in harmony, that they will go out of their way to ensure that they tolerate each other more, they don't snap quickly at each other. They created a level of harmony which transferred to all the inhabitants of the ark, that there was harmony between them as well. And that's the power that we have. Specifically in hard times, it's when we're focused to reflect and think how the world will look actually will depend on us. We are the world. We are the ones who will define how we react and what we make of the world. Because whether there'll be plenty or little, it all depends on our attitude towards it that will make the difference. Because there could be plenty. Cain and Abel had enough to keep them going for generations, but it wasn't enough. And people in the Holocaust, in the camps, they had nothing. But there were many who were ready to share their last nothing and shared it happily for their fellow Jew. The attitude made all the difference. So now that we're in our pandemic, this is the moment to decide for ourselves what the future will look like. Mashiach's coming was never given a prescribed time, because God cannot prescribe when the world will be a harmonious place where everyone will get along together and there will cease to be jealousy, etc., etc. Because you know when it will happen? The day we change and we're able to view another person and rejoice over their successes, be happy for everything they have, and not always judge and measure what they have against what we have. And that's something that happened in the ark. And that's something that we have to learn from in our daily lives. And you know what? It starts at home. We all love our families, but we have to learn how to like them as well. We have to learn how to tolerate, how to be happy for them, how to accept the differences, but yet fully be their biggest fans, their biggest supporters. Not to say that we don't see negative and we just let it pass, but even when we correct negative, it has to be done out of love and care, not out of I told you and I know better, and out of ego and condescending. So let's behave every day as if we lived in the ark. Because when you know how to behave in an ark, you can live anywhere with a lot or a little, and you'll be happy. This is what the meaning of our rabbis, when they said, Ezu asher asameach b'chalka, you want to know who's wealthy? When you're happy with your lot. Wealthy means that you go to sleep feeling complete. If you think that someone has something that belongs to you, or you deserve, and more than them, then you're not wealthy. You're the poorest person walking on the earth. But when you go to sleep feeling happy for what someone else has and content with what you have today, you're the wealthiest person because you have it all. And everyone looks at your face and they feel a content person. And we all like being around people who are content, because content people are happy for the other person as well to have, and have as much as they were blessed with. So God bless you. Creating your ark doesn't make a difference the size. It's the size of your heart and the positivity in your eyes that make your ark special. God bless you, and we love you all.